Hey everybody, welcome to a special Saturday edition of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia. It is Saturday, June 8th, and our topic today is working with consultants. It's brought to you by Rogue Tulips Consulting. We specialize in working with 501c organizations, and we are a proud supporter of the 501c League, which is a virtual membership organization for 501c professionals. So I am here with my friend and colleague, Agnes Amos Coleman, and I'm going to let Agnes introduce herself first today.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an author and a consultant, and I'm happy to be here with my co-host, Cecilia. Over to you,
Great.
Cecilia.
Hello. Yes, hello, Agnes. And Agnes is coming to us again from Nigeria, where she has been visiting. So it's another reason we're doing Saturday, so we can accommodate her travel schedule. So we are truly international here at Rogue Tulips in a lot of ways. But I am Cecilia Sepp, and I am the principal and founder of Rogue Tulips Consulting, and so happy to be here working with my friend and partner, Agnes. And I am also the CEO of the 501c League, which is why we're a proud supporter of that group. So check it out. It's the home of our mentoring program from the League. So check that out as well. Today, we wanted to take a few minutes and talk with you about working with consultants, since we are consultants. And I recently was a guest contributor for the associationsuccess.org Surge Conference. And my topic as a guest contributor was the benefits of working with a consultant. So we as consultants take it very seriously. We're very professional. We have a philosophy of service and kindness and treating people the way we would like to be treated. And one of the things I like to point out to people is there's a big difference between somebody who's freelancing in between jobs and somebody who's a professional consultant. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with freelancing. If you're looking for a new job, maybe you're not sure what your next job looks like for you. Maybe you're just trying some new things. I've done it. Last year I was freelancing quite a bit before I decided to go back to full-time consulting. But what's really the difference? So in my opinion, the difference is this. A freelancer is maybe just picking up projects to make some extra money, or maybe they're in between jobs. And so they're like, yes, I can help you out with a project because I'm in between jobs. Whereas a full-time consultant is committed to the profession of consulting and sharing that intellectual property and building a business. And they're there for the long haul, and they're for the long term. They're not going to disappear when they get a job, which is actually something people have mentioned to me before when they've hired freelancers, and then the freelancer gets a job and all of a sudden they disappear and the project doesn't get done. I'm not saying all freelancers do that. So if you are currently a freelancer, do not fill my email box with complaints because I'm with you. But it is something that I like to point out to people. There is a difference, because that's why I told people last year I was freelancing before I went back to full-time consulting, because there is a difference. You know, when I was freelancing, I was looking for a job. Now I am committed to building a consulting business. So, you know, will that change in the future? It could, but right now I'm full-time consulting and looking for clients. So, Agnes, what do you think on this topic?
I think you've pretty much summed it up very well, Cecilia. And another thing that I'd like to add is that as consultants, we're, an organization strategic partner. So we're in it to help guide organization from soup to nuts on all their projects. And to your point, we're very invested in the organization. We're not only just your strategic partner, but we're also somebody that you can call on and bounce ideas off. We have the short-term ideas that we're playing around with in our organization. What are your thoughts? Because sometimes it's always very good to have that, objective view from somebody that's not with the project or doesn't work with the organization.
Yes.
And that's where we come into play as consultants, and where we can, you can depend on us as your strategic partners to help you move that project or give you just a very different viewpoint on where you need to be, whether in your current state or in the future state of your business.
So that's a great point, Agnes, about the objective viewpoint, because sometimes we're just too close to something and we can't really see the other options or see where we could change it and make it smoother or better. We also, if we're on staff in an organization, I know I've been in the situation, you're so close to what's going on, and you have put so much into it, and then you have these other relationships within the organization of people you see every day and deal with every day, that sometimes you don't see it as clearly, and you're trying to juggle all these other things. And I know, like, a great example, and I think it happens to all of us, is like sometimes I know something's on my desk but I can't find it because I'm too close to it and I'm not seeing it anymore. And so I will ask somebody else to come look at my desk and say, I know this thing is on my desk, whether it's a memo or a file or whatever, but I can't see it. Can you help me find it? And that person will usually put their hands right on it within 15 seconds. Whereas, like, I've maybe been looking for this thing for like 20 minutes, but I just can't see it. And that might sound strange or odd or something, but I think it's the case. And I always use that as an example about being too close to something and needing that objectivity to do these things. Because also, there's something to be said for somebody who's coming in and giving you an analytical, critical viewpoint of something. And critical doesn't mean they're telling you what's wrong with it. I'm referring to critical as in critical thinking. When you're thinking through something and analyzing something, and like, what is point A to point B to point C? This connection not really working. This connection might be broken. It's like going through all the links on your website in a way. You know how you have to go through all your links and make sure they're all working. And people love to tell you when a link's not working too, which is pretty funny. Like, oh, look at this thing I did. Oh, the link's not working. It's like, okay, but that's another thing. And one of the things that I pointed out in the 2-minute guest contribution I did for Association Success is you should build a long-term relationship if you can with a consultant, because they really get to know your organization, and they get to know who the people are, and they understand the inner workings a little bit, but it doesn't get in the way of the objectivity. It just, I think it's a way to provide better service, because you're not in the middle of, whatever maybe office politics might be going on, or whatever controversy might be going on in the organization. You can stay out of the fray, so to speak, and give that better insight. So I don't know. What do you think of that?
I think it's a great idea, Cecilia. Not only that, as you were speaking, one of the thoughts that came to mind is, I know it used to be a buzzword in the business world many years ago, and still much so, but maybe not as prevalent, is this word outsourcing for important projects or just in time projects that you don't have the capacity within your organization to handle. And if you have consultants that you build strategic partnership with them, these are some of the outsourcing that they can help you meet that need and fill the gap. And it's also very good for business, because then you don't have all the overheads that goes with hiring a full-time staff to do this.
Oh,
And
right.
this is where we can come in as consultants and help you meet those needs. And it doesn't take away from your full-time staff. It's just, it complements what you already do. And that's the value that I think as consultants we bring to organizations who engage our services. And that's where that strategic partnership and building that long-term relationship comes into play, because we can help you manage your strategic outputs as well as the inputs as well.
Yes, and that's an excellent point, because it is a word. I guess it's not so much a buzzword, like you said, on outsourcing, but that is what you do when you work with a consultant, and especially if you get the right consultant for the right project. You can have a whole group of consultants you work with that you outsource this work to. And I love that you made the point that supplements your staff, adds to what they're doing. It's not taking away from your staff. It's actually helping your staff perform at a higher level by taking some of the pressure off.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other things, and I think we'll close on this topic so we don't run over time, is make sure, talk through your budget and your expectations when you're working with a consultant, because, professional of any sort will talk things through with you. They're not going to say it's this or nothing. And work with consultants that will work with you, I guess, is a great way to summarize it. It's like they'll work within your resources, work within your time frame, and bring you what you need. So you're nodding, so you agree? Did you have another thought?
Yes, I totally agree. I think you've pretty much summed it up very nicely, Cecilia. I was just nodding because I was agreeing with your point of view. Yes.
Great, excellent, because that's something that we take very seriously. We like to work with our clients on their budget and say, well, we can work with your budget, and we'll let you know what we can do to help you out. And that's something I've always done. I was a consultant for 15 years before we launched Rogue Tulips, earlier in my career. So yeah, it's just something I think is really important, and it's I think it's just a way to be professional and ethical in business. So
Some of the inhibitors, just very quickly, Cecilia, some of the inhibitors of people not wanting to engage consultants is always the cost. They think that there's a high price tag that goes with it. And the reason I'm not, and it's because you pretty much said it, that we at Rogue truly believe in working with you with your budgets and don't see that as an inhibitor, because our goal is to help you reach your goal. And we're very flexible to be able to accommodate that and look at how we can work together. And and I always wanted to remind people of that, that's the case, because often people just think, oh no, we just can't afford to hire consultants. But that's not always the case.
see, and you can afford to hire a consultant. That's a great point. You usually can, but you might have to trim your expectations of how much support you're going to get. It was interesting yesterday when I attended the America's Charity session, and I had a really great conversation with somebody from Taproot Foundation, which is the group that connects pro bono providers with nonprofits. And we had a conversation about scope of project, and not letting it get too big or keeping it focused so that everybody's getting what they need within the time frame, and there's no cash budget because it's pro bono, but within the time budget and the parameters of the project. So yeah, scope is a very important thing to talk about. But that's a great point to close on today, Agnes, is that you can afford to hire a consultant. And I know everybody says, oh no, it's too expensive, but it's going to get you a lot more productivity. It's going to bring in new knowledge. It's going to bring in some skills that support the skills you already have on your staff. Because I think most staffs are really good. They're very strong. They have a lot to offer, but they just only have so many hours in the day. And so bringing in a couple extra people on shorter long-term projects really just frees up your staff to do what they're doing well even more. That's not the best way to say it, but to help your staff really be able to focus on what they need to focus on and get, oh, it looks like we lost Agnes. Okay, so Agnes lost the signal, so I'm going to sign off for both of us right now. So thanks for joining us for this segment of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia, our special Saturday segment on working with consultants. Thank you, and as we always say, take 15 minutes and talk with somebody because you might learn something.